Hey guys, I'm back on the Shadow. My DRZ suffered a flat tire a week ago and I haven't been able to get it repaired as of this video because of Chinese New Year. Anyway, the COE system, or the Certificate of Entitlement system, for the benefit of the 40% of my viewers that are not from Singapore, it is basically a tax that you pay on top of your import taxes, administrative fees, and you know, the usual taxes that we all know as part of a vehicle owner, to allow you to continue owning and keeping that particular vehicle for 10 years. If you've ever been to New York and heard of the New York taxi medallion system, it works the same way. Basically, it works on the supply and demand system. There's a limited allotted supply of these certificates, and the less there are available, the more expensive it becomes. It was originally conceived basically to control the population of vehicles on the road. Primarily is a source of revenue for the government, also as a way to continue keeping consumerism of vehicles alive in Singapore instead of repairs and basically maintaining old vehicles and not buying new vehicles on the market. The problem is that in 2014, during better economic times, cars were being bought in greater numbers, and basically what this means was that there was greater competition for these certificates in the motor car category that was driving up prices. Cars usually cost about $80,000 per car, around the cheaper side of things, and at that time the prices of the certificates for cars were reaching around 90,000 each. So what's happening was the rich car owners were starting to complain that it was becoming a lot more difficult for them to enjoy their luxury vehicles, buying cars, and the government tried to accommodate the rich at the expense of the poor. So what they did was they started increasing the quota, the allotment of certificates for cars, and in the meantime they had to take that figure from motorcycles and decrease the allotment for motorcycles respectively. Now what this did was basically made the prices of certificates for motorcycles even more expensive, and it does not help that there is a system where 10% of all motorcycle certificates, when they get deregistered, are transferred to an open category that is de facto only used by people that are buying cars, even though you could buy motorcycles with them, but for the price range it's the same as buying a car certificate. So what this means is that as of 2016, the prices of motorcycle certificates have soared to more than $6,000, and by perspective, the cheap motorcycles generally cost about $2,000 to $3,000 to buy a cheap underbone brand new. You could buy 2 motorcycles for the price of 1 certificate. Now this poses a lot of problem, considering that we have a government that is trying to reduce the population of motorcycles that are often bought by the poor and the young, that are often used in the line of making a living as delivery men. Whereas, you know, the same can't be said for people that buy cars. Cars are purely a luxury here. There is practically almost nobody that can truly, honest to heart, say that, you know, they bought their cars as a direct means to earn money. Uber drivers? No. Taxi drivers? No. Van drivers, bus drivers, truck drivers? No. All these are rented or company vehicles. Almost nobody uses their personal cars as a primary means of making a living in Singapore. I get it. I get that a COE system is necessary for the continued growth of the automotive industry. If there was no COE system, nobody would buy new vehicles, and the market in Singapore is already small as it is. It could potentially destroy, you know, the market for new vehicles in Singapore if you do not have this system. But this is absolutely unfair to tax motorcycle riders so high, you know, when we are the ones that generally need the vehicles to be cost effective, to maintain our quality of life. I get that there are a few people out there that do ride motorcycles as a form of entertainment hobbies, and it's not exactly a true form of poor man's transport. But the vast majority of motorcyclists are pretty much, you know, commuters and just trying to get by as blue collar workers on their motorcycles. 70% of working bikes, you know, under 200cc are, you know, of this particular class, while luxury bikes, you know, above 400cc's are only make up about 10%. So it's kind of unfair that this is how the poor are treated in Singapore. And I think that it's because we don't have a very strong voice. Most of us are poor. We don't have a way to lobby, unlike the rich car owners who are the most likely to, you know, be making their voices heard in Parliament. That's why they managed to get car certificates lowered down now to a far more affordable price of about 40,000 to 50,000, whereas us motorcyclists have to pretty much suck it up and take whatever, you know, the government and the rich shove down our ass. But we as riders, we have to make our voices heard. We have to do something about this. You have to talk to your local MPs about this, that this is a legitimate problem to be tackled. You have to make your voices heard. There should be a hard cap on how much the prices of the Certificate of Entitlement should increase to. There should be a hard cap. Probably a certain percentage of, I don't know, something. There should be a hard cap. It cannot be double the price of what it costs to buy a motorcycle itself. Not when, you know, car drivers can buy a $80,000 car with a certificate that costs only half its amount, while, you know, motorcyclists are buying a $3,000 underbone that with a $6,000 tax attached to it. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and of course do your part as a motorcyclist in Singapore and make your voices heard. If you like this video, do click the like button below, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this in future, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.